Wildlife is being poisoned, and people who live along the Gulf Coast are having a hard time living with the oil spill. But many say they can't survive without the oil industry.
We just in a bad situation here. You know, we do going round and round, and there's no way out.
With all the talk surrounding the devastated fishing industry, it only accounts for 1% of Louisiana's economy. Tourism makes up 4%. The oil industry accounts for a whopping 16%.
Each of these squares is a oil lease.
You don't have to go farther than the beach to see the impact. From some points, the naked eye can count more than a dozen oil platforms in the ocean.
If you go out there at night in a plane, it looks like Manhattan. All these rigs are lit up. It's just, amazing to see.
Oil pipelines cut through the wetlands and crisscross highways. Nearly 5 million barrels of oil are produced in the U.S. each day. A quarter of that comes from deep water rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. And most of the supplies and support for those rigs pass through Port Fourchon in Lafourche Parish.
Basically, Lafourche Parish has about 18% of the oil that America uses.
Each deepwater platform employs about 250 people. And for each of those employees, experts say there are another 6 to 8 workers supporting them, like cooks and tugboat captains. Louisiana's Oil and Gas Association estimates the moratorium may disrupt as many as 100,000 jobs across the Gulf region.
Nobody in their right mind would hold off operations waiting on the actions of a government that they know, frankly, doesn't care for their business.
Royalties from offshore oil and gas production serve as the second highest source of revenue for the federal government, second only to the income tax. Broussard says as soon as the Obama administration issued its first moratorium on deepwater drilling, other countries started courting rig operators, and the operators started planning their moves.
These deepwater rigs are signed up on contracts from 3 to 6 years at a time. They cost on the order of $600 million apiece. And if they're not working, they're not paying their mortgage.
Eric Smith is Associate Director of Tulane University's Energy Institute. He and other industry experts say BP's bad business decisions don't represent the entire industry.
It was the careless and reckless operation of one operator. There were 656 deep water wells drilled in the Gulf of Mexico, and 551 of those are producing. And before April 20th, 0 disasters, 0 major accidents.
The real issue is one of human beings. How do you change a corporate culture, in this case with one company, to make sure they do play by the rules?
Here on the southernmost tip of Lafourche Parish, oil cleanup meets oil production. It's a staging area for BP's cleanup efforts in the western part of the state, and just offshore stand dozens of oil rigs. It's symbolic of the region's reliance on its natural resources and waterways. Just minutes from Port Fourchon, visitors to one of Louisiana's most popular coastal destinations are greeted by the message, "Jesus Christ reigns over Grand Isle." This time of year, the island is usually bustling. Now, there are only signs telling the region's dismal tale. Diminished property values. "I want my life back," read the signs. Seafood markets and restaurants are closed. One resident has transformed his yard into a cemetery, marking the death of the region's way of life. Down the road, Shelley Landry operates the supermarket her dad opened more than 30 years ago. The store has survived every hurricane. But Landry doesn't know what to expect from this double whammy.
Right now, with an oil spill, you don't have the tourism. They've killed with putting this moratorium, they've killed the oil fields.
Emotions are high. Environmentalists are mobilizing to push for clean energy. The Sierra Club has partnered with progressive Christian groups to spread the message.
If you care about our country's foreign policy, if you care about the environment, if you care about the health of our economy, or if you care about human rights, then you care about the cost of our oil dependence.
But an energy transformation will happen slowly. And until then, many Gulf Coast residents and business owners want the oil drills turned back on.
Until, the rest of Americans start feeling it at the pump, I think they won't truly understand how much this port and how much Gulf oil production really means to them individually.
For now, folks are simply doing the only thing they can.
We're taking it day by day, week by week. But my daddy taught me to save for rainy days. I just wish it wouldn't be pouring as much as it is.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, along Louisiana's Gulf Coast.